Nobody likes job hoppers, and I would never hire one. That's exactly what this X recruiter, emphasis on X, said in this latest video. I have seen a number of videos from this profile, and I highly suggest they remove the F from the profile name for it to make a little bit more sense. Yes, pretty much every video I've seen from this profile has been complete garbage. In this video, she goes on a tirade about how if you job hopped, she would never hire you, that there's something wrong with you, and she used a time frame 2 to 3 years. She then said that as a job hopper, you need to look internally and inside to figure out what's wrong with you. How dare you make a move for more money? Here's the reality. Average tenure is actually 4 years, so 2 to 3 years is actually not that far behind average. The other thing to consider is job hopping is extremely subjective. I've been in recruitment for coming up to a decade, and everybody has a different view on job hopping. For some hiring managers, it's a couple of jobs in a year. For other hiring managers, it might be a job every 2 to 3 years. For other hiring managers, it might be having 3 jobs in 10 years. What this really means is that job hopping is extremely subjective. On the other hand, I have seen people get major pay raises by strategically job hopping every 2 to 3 years. So you work at Google for 2 years, you get approached by a recruiter, they offer you a sizable raise and more money, you make the move to Meta. Then 2 to 3 years later, Microsoft approaches you and they offer you even more money. So if you strategically job hop every 2 to 3 years, you could probably double your salary relatively quickly. Now, if you were to remain at the same company for that same amount of time, let's say 10 years, you are unlikely to get raises that are in line with inflation. This is why the real reason that people job hop isn't because they're not loyal, it's because loyalty does not pay. The next question inevitably is, if I look like a job hopper, how do I explain that in an interview? And it's easy. You look at what you've learned, how you've grown, and how that's going to add value to the role and the company that you're applying for. Guys, this is another reason you need to be careful who you listen to on TikTok. This account is full of terrible advice and terrible information. And when you go to check the credentials of this person, it's really, really hard to find. Another red flag, she turned off the duet and stitches, which to me, why else would you do that unless you're putting out misinformation and you know you're going to get ripped to shreds?